Hello and welcome to Cricket Happenings, dear friends and subscribers. Your host Ram welcoming you to your cricket show. The second semi-finals was played today at the Eden Gardens in Kolkata, and I have to say that Australia have reached their eighth final by defeating South Africa by 3 wickets. Well, I definitely feel sorry for South Africa because South Africa probably would have thought that this was the best chance for them to reach the finals because South Africa have never ever reached a finals of a World Cup. But for Australia, it's their eighth final and they are meeting India in the finals on 19th of November, which is the culmination of the tournament, and we will find out on 19th of November as to who would be the World Cup champions. Right. Now, coming to this particular game, first and foremost, I would like to talk about the toss. Now, if you look at this particular card, I mean, this match was very well fought. It was an interesting battle. Now, South Africa won the toss, Temba Bavuma, the captain, and he decided to bat first. Now, the first question for me here is that was that the right decision? And the reason that I say I'm talking about it today is because it was gloomy conditions at the Eden Gardens. Now, I don't know what prompted Temba Bavuma to take a stance that he would. I probably thought that Temba Bavuma should have probably inserted the Aussies in because looking at the conditions, because of the ball was, it was gloomy conditions, and look at what happened. The Aussies, the Aussie bowlers, especially the opening bowlers, did a great job. Mitchell Stark and Josh Hazelwood was bowling with wonderful economy, and over and above that, they were moving the ball in those gloomy conditions, which really helped their swing movement. And look at the damage they did. They had the South Africans tottering at 24 for 4. If you look at the wickets there, the first to go was Temba Bavuma getting an edge onto the keeper or the bowling of Stark, and then it was the turn of the best batsman in the South African camp, Quinton de Kock, the opener. Probably I could say now that Quinton de Kock has played his last match of his one-day international career, as he was gone, trying to launch Hazelwood over the top, and all that he could see was that the Cummins, the Australian captain, backpedaled and took a catch. Now, any a person who is actually going back and taking a catch, it's not easy. So definitely great credit. And also, I have to say one more thing: the bowling was supported by some admirable fielding. The Aussies were fielding like panthers today. They came with a determination. They came with a determination to win. And they said that, yes, we are going to win this match against South Africa. And look at the fielding. It was like panther-like fielding. Temba Bavuma gone. And then Rassie van der Dussen, I thought he was really, put out of his misery. The way that Josh Hazelwood tested Rassie van der Dussen, he was really searching for the ball. And that's it. And the pressure really was built so much from both the ends. At one end, there is a left armer operating, an expert left armer operating and getting the ball to move. And here comes Josh Hazelwood bowling metronomically, not giving away any runs, and also getting the wickets. And here he comes, taking the wicket of Rassie van der Dussen, as he got van der Dussen to actually edge into a drive. And he was a goner. So that was the fourth wicket, which made it 20. But before that, there was a third wicket that fell, which Stark took it, and this was Markram going for the time. What a catch from David Warner! That's the reason I told you that Mitchell Stark and Josh Hazelwood, the bowlers, were supported admirably by the Australian. I would say sensational catches taken, sensational fielding by Australia, and they were right in the game right from the start. And that's what you want to see in a semi-finals, and the Aussies did it. And after that, there was some sort of sanity prevailing in the South African camp, with a partnership starting between David Miller, one of the best batsmen in the South African, more experienced as well. He was there with Henrik Klaasen, who's really a threat to any opposition today. And both actually had to really see off the tough time. Once they did that, they started putting together a partnership which yielded 95 runs, which was the only reason that the South Africans at least could reach a respectable total of 212. And this was the time when one was thinking, when the score read 119, with both the batsmen, choosing. We also saw some attacking strokes from them. So when the spinners came, like Adam Zampa had a really off day today, he was really hit. And what one saw, Adam Zampa was very surprising that he was not amongst the wickets, and he was taken to. They took the attack to the camp, and Adam Zampa was not allowed to settle. 7 overs for 55. That is not something that we expected from Adam Zampa, especially when the ball was turning. And we detected some turn there, and Glenn Maxwell was bowling. Then they had Travis Head come. Now this was another turning point in the game. Travis Head came in and he did a double strike. He forced Henrik Klaasen to play inside the line of the ball, and Henrik Klaasen lost his stumps to Head for 47 or 48 deliveries with 4 fours and 2 sixes. And the very next ball, Marco Hansen had to walk back to the pavilion with his head hung down, because Travis had got a ball to turn in, and Marco Hansen was dismissed for a first ball duck. And that was really, it was a very sad scene for South Africa. 119 for 6, and it was the 31st over. After that, all that David Miller could do, he tried to get some company, got some resistance. I would say some good company. I thought this Gerald Coetze's knock of 19 was also a useful one. He really played some very good strokes in his knock of 19. Of 39 deliveries, 2 boundaries to give David Miller company. David Miller, hit it out, and and he reached his century. So that was good to see. David Miller finishing with 101 of 116 balls, 8 fours and 5 sixes. A very good knock under the circumstances, a very valuable knock. Otherwise, South Africa could have not even reached the 200 mark. And after that, there's nothing to really talk about. The Aussies the South Africans were bowled out for 212. And if you look at the bowling, barring Adam Zampa, who bowled 7 overs for 55, looking at the bowling, it really makes very happy reading. Mitchell Starc, 10 overs, 1 maiden, 34 runs and 3 wickets. Josh Hazlewood, absolutely, as we call it in cricket, metronomic accuracy. Metronomic bowling, one could call. 8 overs, 3 maidens, 12 runs and 2 wickets. Pat Cummins, 9.4 overs, no maiden, 3 for 51. One thing I would like to say here is that I thought Pat Cummins bowled his best in the World Cup in this particular match, because he definitely had the South Africans, in a real bind here. I thought he bowled well. Yes, he only took he took David Miller's wicket. Yes, he definitely took David Miller's wicket. But other than that, I thought Patrick Cummins, the captain, really bowled very well today. And then Glenn Maxwell, 10 overs done for 35. I mean, he has been doing a tremendous job in the World Cup. Travis Head, Travis Head is he was the man of the match as well, because he also came and started doing it with the bat as well. 5 overs, no maiden, 2 for 21. And that was the Aussie innings ending at 200. So the South African innings ending at 212. Now the Aussies were chasing 213 to win. And a very good start from David Warner and Travis Head, adding 60 runs for. If you look at the Australian card, Travis Head, he was the one who was thumping the boundaries, and he was looking his usual self. but one thing that one thing that I thought is that the fielding of South Africa could have been much, much better, because when you're defending 212, you definitely didn't get enough on the board. So it was very essential that you started holding your half chances. But that was something which was not happening. I thought probably there was a bit of a lack of effort. There was a lack of effort, absolutely, because when you're defending such a small score, it's not easy. So I thought that really caused the game. Certain balls did not go to hand, went into the air. Temba Bauma, I thought his captaincy was very good. The spinners did an excellent job, because this was a time for Aussies to be very, very watchful, as they were the ones who really brought the South Africans back into it. If you look at it, Travis said, as I said, he got the man of the match award with a 62 of 48, 9 4s and 2 6s. David Warner also played with his in the aggressive vein, 29 of 18, 1 4 and 4 6s, and the partnership was worth 60. But after that opening stand was gone, and then Mitchell Marsh was sent for a duck, and that was Rabada. But it was an excellent catch. Van der Dussen picking up an absolute screamer as the ball was really traveling. And Mitchell Marsh hits with raw power, and the ball was really, really traveling through the cover region. But Van der Dussen plucked it out of thin air, and that was absolutely a great catch. And Mitchell Marsh was gone for duck. So that was a big blow for the Aussies. And when Travis said when the score at 106, but he was doing all the bulk of the scoring there. And then it was when Marnus Labuschagne came. We all know that Marnus Labuschagne is someone who can really lend the stability to the innings. And I always thought that if Marnus Labuschagne was there, this victory would have been much easier for the Aussies. But as I expected, I didn't. Definitely there was a challenge, because one had to deal with the spinners. And the spinners, Keshav Maharaj, he was bowling excellently. At the other end, Shamsi, and the ball was turning. So that it was turning more than what it was turning, when it was being played earlier, when the South Africans were playing. So basically, batting, basically. So if you look at it, wonderful bowling. They really stuck to their task. And then we saw Marnus Labuschagne being LBW to Shamsi for 18. And this was a ball. He tried to go for the reverse sweep. It ended up being LBW. That made it 133 for 4. And soon it became Glenn Maxwell's wicket was a big key. Now, this was what, if you look at it, Kuldeep Yadav of India actually had Glenn Maxwell out in the same fashion before. Probably those were the videos probably they saw. And what Shamsi did, he got the ball to skid after pitching, and it went on to hit the leg stump. And that was the end of Maxwell. And that was the time probably the Aussies would have worried with 137 for 5. But then we saw Stephen Smith combining with Josh Inglis. But then Stephen Smith's wicket was taken. Coetzee came in. And the partnership was doing well at that particular stage, because from 137 for 5, Josh Inglis and Stephen Smith slowly nurdled their way, with Josh Inglis playing a few strokes as well. But then Stephen Smith was the victim of Coetzee. Coetzee was brought back by Temba Bauma. And Temba Bauma, I have to say, his captaincy was very good. He started having close-in. He started thinking out of the box, started having close-in fielders. He had a sort of, I think it was a silly mid-off. He started putting the pressure, and he was forcing the batsman to make mistakes. And here comes Gerald Coetzee, who, really made a fool of Smith, because the ball, he thought probably with the action that Coetzee was bowling, Stephen Smith would have probably expected the ball to be a sort of a short ball. But it was, as I said, it was probably the ball was held up. The pace was much slower than Stephen Smith anticipated. And all that Stephen Smith could do was put it in the air. And De Kock, called for it and took it. So that made the score at that particular time when Stephen Smith departed. That particular score was 174 for 6, but still there was still some batting to come. Josh Inglis was there, joined in by Mitchell Stark, and then Josh Inglis and Mitchell Stark started pushing the score along. They pushed it to 193 when Coetzee came back and rattled the stumps of Josh Inglis. Now, again, as you know, this was wicket number 20 for Coetzee, playing in his first World Cup. And what a World Cup he's having. 20 wickets in his first World Cup. He forced Josh Inglis with a delivery where Josh Inglis had to go on the back foot, and that's it. It was all over. The ball had gone and hit the stumps, and that was the end of Josh Inglis, who played a good hand, I thought, bowled by Coetzee for 28 of 49-3. But after that, it was they definitely that was in the 40th over, 193 for 7, and then it was only not much, but still there was a lot of tension in the air. The nerves were jangling as to what's going to happen, whether South Africa is going to win, Australia is going to win. But I thought Mitchell Stark and Pat Cummins kept their cool, started giving respect to all the good deliveries, and only when they got any loose balls they were dispatching, and that was the right way to go. And finally they got Australia into the finals of the World Cup for the 8th time as they meet India in the World Cup final. So well done, Australia. And my commiserations to South Africa, because South Africa, every time it comes to they peaked a lot. They lost to Netherlands, but look at what happened. This is something which has been a never-ending story. That is again a choke. We couldn't call this a choke, but definitely it's a never-ending story for South Africa. Unfortunately, they have never reached the finals of a World Cup. Looking at the bowling, Marco Hansen, he was. I thought he was reckless. He didn't bowl proper areas. He bowled a lot of wides, and I don't think his line was right. 4 points. So that was a weak link for South Africa. Kagiso Rabada also a bit costly, but still 1 for 41 his returns. Aidan Markram, the spinners definitely did their job, but again, there needs to be more support. And Gerald Coetzee did his job, 247. Spinners, look at the spinners. 28 overs were bowled between the spinners. 8 overs, 1 made and 1 for 23 for Aidan Markram. Tabraiz Shamsi, 2 for 42. And Keshav Maharaj, he is such an economical bowler, 1 for 24. I was only thinking that whether Temba Bavuma could have had any other bowler other than Aidan Markram. I was just trying to see, but I don't think they had any resources to go to. And unfortunately, it was all over with Australia defeating South Africa and entering the finals of the World Cup. Well, dear fans, friends and subscribers, all done and dusted. We are absolutely at the end of the tournament now. It has been a great World Cup, no doubt about it. And I will be coming back to you on this cricket show. I might be coming tomorrow, but I am not promising. You can still keep your ears tuned. Look at it whenever any upload comes. So I might be popping in, or probably if I don't pop in tomorrow, then I would pop in on Saturday to do a brief preview of the India versus Australia clash in the ICC Cricket World Cup 2023 finals, which will be played at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. And what a cracker it is going to be. Well, dear fans, subscribers, this being said, it's time for me to wind up my show and look forward to seeing you all either tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Until then, it's goodbye. Thank you.